Focus. Howdy, folks. It's Curtis Horde, the Trad Building Pope, coming to you live from the shack in the bogs of Kentucky. We got a prompt from a listener. I'm going to navigate over to YouTube and read their comments here.
You're in here, so if you're going to have shutters there, there should be a...
Oh my god, I hate my voice on camera. Should never. Okay. Artemio. I'm guessing. I hope that's right. Artemio. Artemio asked a couple days ago, could you do a very basic drawing of a home? I know nothing, but I'd like to learn. Thank you. Buddy, I love this. Truly, like, this is what we do here. This is what we do here. So, I'm going to walk through my comments to what you told me about your area. First off, we're in Idaho. I don't know that much other than it's a 1925 bungalow. I'm going to assume if it's a bungalow in 1925, it's in a town and not just a lonely house. So it's in a city block on a lot. And with that, we don't want to get too out of bounds with our shop or garage. We want something that's going to blend with the area, blend with the style, right? So, the first thing that comes up when I search for bungalow garage is an article in American Bungalow. What year is this? It doesn't have a year. 2017 published. The Bungalow Garage. Like, basically it's just bungalow house styles just copied into a one bay space. Which is fine. Like, I don't want to knock it. There's nothing wrong with that, but the thing about bungalow garages from the 20s and all bungalow houses is they had access to really good timber from a catalog that we don't. And that's the big elephant in the room with all timber, full timber structures or anything that dictates a whole lot of timber consumption, right? Is that we don't have the trees. Yes, trees grow. We know this. We're not dumb. We know that trees grow. Trees grow big enough to harvest, but they don't grow big enough to harvest to noble timber like we used to have in the 1800s. You need a couple hundred years for things to regenerate, and you need actual human management on the forest. It's not about virgin forest. It's not that they didn't grow unmaintained. It's they grew managed, and there's a whole video on it on my TV channel. Trad Building Videos. Tom Wessels tells you how to read the forest. Don't watch it unless you want to be depressed, because if you do the forensics honestly, the story isn't great for timber. You need a 2-foot log minimum to make a crown beam. So, salvage timber, DeLorme trusses, there are ways to get around this. It's not like it's a lost cause. You just have to be tactful in the amount of timber you design into a building. All right. Let me get your name right again. I'm going to look at that one more time. this may not even be your real name, but I'm going to use it for our lesson here. Artemio? It's got to be Artemio. Okay. Artemio. I'm probably putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Oh, I hope I'm not. Can I call you Art? Would that be okay? Would you be upset if I called you Art? Art. I went through some Idaho geography, and I went through the sun angles, and I think that's going to be the most important thing to get across when we're designing a house here, any house. Our first step, always, without fail, is to draw a ground line. This is for Michael Graves or the Mennonites. It doesn't matter. If you're designing a building, the first thing you need is the ground to put it on, right? So you're going to draw a ground line. This is your camera view. Now, the next thing we want to do for a shop is to say, okay, what scale can we fit our thing into here on the page? So this is your scale ruler. All it is it takes your inches and it breaks down inches into feet per inch on the ruler here. So, for instance, if I go to the regular ruler here, this is 1 to 12 inches, and I flip it, this is reading 1/2 inch per foot, right? So on this scale, I can go 1 foot and 6 inches, right, for a 1/2 inch scale. And then I could draw that. So if I had a wall that was 18 inches thick, I could then go like that. We don't need an 18-inch thick wall. That's a little big. And this is actually kind of a big, well, it's a big small scale. Let's go with instead of a 1/2 inch scale, we're going to go with a 3/8 scale. So if we rotate the ruler to the red bar and flip it around, we got 3/8 scale. So what that means is for every 3/8 inches on the ruler, it's representing 1 foot. Right, so you can see now how that gets really useful for architecture, because especially if you have grid paper. Because now, right, I can take my scale and my grid paper and I can do calculations on the grid paper, and as long as they cross the axes, I know they'll match up when I blow them up. Right? So 3/8 scale is 3 blocks on the grid paper, right? Because all these blocks are 1/8 inch. So we were talking about your design, which I said it should be a brick wall on the north side. A solid brick wall, so that's 12 inches, right? And 7 feet tall. So I take my scale here. I find there's 8 foot, there's 7 foot. Put it in on 0. Strike the 7. Boom. I got 7 feet tall right there. And I'm going to go ahead and strike that across the span here now. So I've just drawn in scale my brick wall on the north side. We know that it's 7 feet tall, so I'm actually I'm gonna put that in dimensions here now, 7 feet. And I'll put it in down here, 12 inches. And that way I don't forget, right? I don't want to go back and be like, oh crap, what scale am I in? Okay, so now we want to decide like what this shop is going to be. We want a bench over here, right? We want it to be 3 feet off the ground. So that's 1, 2, 3. It's a tall bench and 3 foot wide. It's like a work table, or 2 foot wide. It's just a bench. We got some cabinets up above. We'll make those 14 inch. How about that? We'll give you the real king treatment here. Okay, so now we got a workbench and some cabinets. We got a 7 foot ceiling. Now how high do we want to go above that? It's a workshop. You probably want to be able to spin like a 10 foot piece of trim inside there, right? Like at the bare minimum. I would want a 10 foot ceiling in a shop. Just cause. I mean, you could, you can compromise if you have to, but we're dreaming here, so let's dream big. 10 foot ceiling, brick wall, up to 10 foot. Okay, so now how wide do we need this thing to be? Well, we need a car to pull in here. How wide is a car? Shit, I actually don't know that. I don't design for cars. It's 2 people and it's probably 5 foot, right? It's got to be 5 foot. So you want person clearance here, which is 2. And then you need your car. You need room to make your car happy. It's 5 foot, and then you need a person clearance on the other side of that. That's 2 foot. 5 foot seems small for a car. That's like a little bitty Honda. What's a Ford truck? I need to Google this. So, fun fact, if you go to your old AIA manuals, they tell you all these dimensions. If you get like an AIA, an architectural international, whatever the architect's trade book, they publish one each year with graphical standards, and they have all this figured out already. So, I mean, that's the one thing architects did for us, truly, is it's more like the ergonomics and stuff, like how to figure out what the minimum requirements for a space like this are. To put a car in here, to put a person in here, and to have it function, right? Like, they have done that for 200 years, and they've gotten pretty good at it. But they stopped developing any skills around the 1970s. So you can just go back to their written graphical references to kind of get an idea. I'm going to look this up real quick and quit rambling. Google, how wide is a cool truck? How wide is a pickup truck? First line. Width in inches? You're giving me inches? You fucking rats. Okay, Dodge Ram 1500. I'm looking for the biggest number. 2020. Ugh. Inches without mirrors. The Dodge Ram 3500. Give me a fucking calculator, y'all. Come on. I'm streaming on the phone. I don't feel like doing math. Give me the calculator. Documents, applications. Come on, come on. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Calculator. Okay, we're going to divide 20 by 12 equals What? No, that can't be right. $168 feet. No, this, y'all, come on. Hold on. Okay, second result. How wide is the average truck? That's the length. I want the width. 6.8 feet is the max. Let's call it 7. All right. Let's get luxurious here. Let's do a 7-foot bay. And then let's do 3 foot for a little guy over here. So that gives us room to pull a big Dodge Ram, according to Google, into here. With an 8-foot door, centered. Oh, that sounds about right. That's probably why they have an 8x7 door. Okay, so we're going to pull the big-ass truck in here on an 8-foot door. And if we put the biggest truck in the world in here, we got 3 foot on this side. We get 2 foot on this side. We got a little shop over here. We don't know how long it is yet. We'll deal with that later. But we're just doing a section right now. So, now, here's where we get to the cool part. So, we decided that our ceiling height was going to be, I don't know, like 10 foot. But that's in the middle of the shop, right? Like, that's if you were out here, like, spinning a piece of trim or something like that. Like, working on a bench, a rolly bench, I would imagine. Over here, you don't need it to be like that. Let's draw our other wall in. Right? And then the next thing I really want to get in here is my sun angle. That's the thing that I was looking up online that made the most sense to me to base this design around, was the angle of the sun in the winter, which y'all are living up there. 75 degrees, right? At the peak of the winter sun, in the worst of the winter. Oh, I'm sorry, winter. Oh my God. At the worst of the summer, your shit's coming in at 75 degrees, right? In the winter, it's coming in at a paltry 26 degrees. Right there. So, the idea for this structure is to catch all of the sun at its highest point in the summer and bounce it off, right, into the north. But in the winter, we want to soak all of that up so it'll radiate on your floor, back up onto this wall here, and warm that shop up real nice. So what I'm going to do is actually just, I'm doing this so lazy, I'm just going to average the difference right here, eyeball it. And I'm going to go halfway down on this knee wall. I'm calling that my rafter line. Okay. And then the next thing I want to do is figure out where my opening top and bottoms go. So if this is our summer sun, right? Let's project it all the way out to like right here. Right? So our summer sun angle at the highest, like at the worst day in the summer, when this thing is just loaded to the max, it's coming in about right there. We're going to put our sill. It's a garage. We don't want peekers. Right? Let's put our sill right here. How about that? Let's see what that looks like. And then we're going to do a lintel up here, 12 by 12. Just a real basic brick beam, 12 by 12 all the way through. And then we could just carry our wall all the way up and have the trusses rest on the wall. That's a 6-inch truss. That's like a 8-inch. Let's do an 8-inch truss. That should be good enough. I don't know what your snow loads are like. If you brace into the wall right above the windows like this, that's breaking you down to a... How much of a span do we have here? That's a 12-foot span. 12 foot, so not even that bad. And then if you do this overhang, that's a 3-foot overhang, so that's a little heavy. We could probably cut this back to like 2.5 and still get our optimal sun angle, because you may want a little bit of that winter sun, or sorry, a little bit of that summer sun coming in. You don't want it to be like a cave. Like, you don't want to get rid of all of it. But that's where you can play with your eve angle to make sure that sun in the worst of the summer is mostly bouncing off this, and then when it's higher in the sky, it's just reflecting off of your shed roof. And then in the winter, when your winds are blowing in, it's driving through these windows and hitting your slab and wall right here. So again, that's sort of how I would attack this, is to do brick wall, and then frame this in and do, whatever kind of doors, you fancy. And then you could do a door right here, so you have a garage door, regular. It's a 1-car garage. It's nothing fancy. But, the showpiece for this thing is this whole side of arches and windows. So on this brick wall is just a regular brick wall. This brick wall is 4 feet or whatever of brick. How much we got here? 3 feet. Okay, so 3 feet up, stone sill, steel casements like factory windows, and then like 2 arches to make the span. So down the side, you'd have your garden wall, you'd have your pillar, arch. Kind of like a craftsman porch. I've seen them done this way. And then you just get your big factory windows in here, steel casements. And then on this side, you got your brick wall. Timber across the middle here. Frame it in with stick framing or whatever. Frame your door in. Get your garage door spec. No need to splurge on that. And then just do your shed roof on top. So I think you're looking at maybe 10,000 brick here. Don't quote me on that. Let me count this up, but I want to say it's 10,000 brick. Maybe 8. The cube, I gotta remember what, and again, it depends on how long you want to make it, and if you want to put like a shed on the back or something like that. But I think for, a basic bungalow garage, this is something they would have built in the time period with the tools and resources at their disposal. So that's kind of where I'm basing my design from.